Hi guys, I'm MC Seeker of Truth. Now it's been a while since I've made a video about Greg Hallett, so a few people have been asking me to make an update. Where is he? What's going on? What about my investigations into the Hidden King? I've got his set of books. Basically, let's start off with a bit of backstory. I started my channel back in August and I've been making videos since July. And this was to warn people around the whole con of the fake king. There was professional documentaries made on Greg Hallett, and they were made by David Mahoney, Digital Warrior Productions. So these all came out. Many people were giving him money and completely taken in by this whole narrative that this man from New Zealand, Greg Hallett, was the rightful heir to the throne, the rightful monarch, King of England, and king of many other territories, and also stating that he was the Christ Messiah. So what happened to him? Let's go back. So I started making videos. I started my YouTube channel in the beginning of August. Nearly a year now that my channel has been up, and I made a lot of videos showing many inconsistencies, talking to his family, his friends, talking to people that could tell you that this guy has been taking advantage of people near enough all of his life. So I made many videos, and for a while it seemed like an uphill struggle. Many people calling, people like myself and others trying to warn people, trolls, saying that he was saying in his videos that his family were heroin addicts, don't listen to them. They were just trying to warn people. So around September time, so he was backed by Charlie Ward. At the time, he'd done a couple of interviews with him. He'd called him the real King of England.
With Greg Hallett, the real King of England. He has a bunch of titles. Has a bunch of titles and fulfills all the predictions. God save Donald Trump. God save our children. God save King John III.
And that's how I ended up looking into Charlie Ward and Dave Mahoney, who was making these professional style documentaries on Greg Hallett. So around September, beginning of September time, the heat, obviously, from my videos, other people's videos, lots of stuff that was coming out, the heat had been turned up on this whole narrative. And Charlie Ward decided to step back from it. I would say he made a video where he said, well, I actually knew the truth and all along, and he wasn't being 100% truthful. This is where it all started to fall apart.
And then they fell out. And that's why all the books of those histories have been destroyed. And I knew that information right from the start. But I just thought, I'm going to give you the airtime and see if you actually tell everybody what has happened. And he's chosen at this stage not to do so. If he chooses to tell everybody that, then I think it would do an awful lot of good. Dave Mahoney knows the truth. Lee Dawson knows the truth. Jack Kidd knows the truth. I'm not going to force him to tell the truth.
Charlie Ward has just admitted that he knew that Greg Hallett all along was not the real King of England. Dave Mahoney started doing damage control. Oh, Charlie got some things wrong. It forces us to talk about this whole narrative. The whole narrative that they were excluding from the documentaries was the fact that someone else was meant to be the king in all of Greg Hallett, in Greg Hallett's books, the books that you couldn't get anywhere, which was really fishy. In his earlier videos, which were wiped from the internet, he was saying that the guy called Francisco Manuel from Portugal was actually supposed to be the heir to the throne. Somewhere along the way, which was, the details were all murky at the time, he had taken that role, and all of a sudden, all of this research became about Greg and Greg being the rightful king. So anyway, around September time, it all started to fall apart. And obviously, Greg kind of fell out with Charlie Ward, and there was some disruption in the camp between Greg and Mahoney, I guess. Not that they let on to that, but Greg disappeared. And The only person that was sort of carrying on the narrative was David, and he was saying, well, you know, he's really busy. I don't know, because of, you know, it's so secret. I don't know what he's up to, but he's up to some busy stuff. And so he's had to take some time out, and he doesn't want to talk on the internet because people will twist his words, or more likely find out that he's lying, is what it came down to. And that's why he was hiding off the internet. So people are asking, you know, what happened to him. At the time, he disappeared for a whole month. The whole month of October, he kind of just disappeared. And then in November, he brought out some more videos. Now, this time it wasn't with David Mahoney and Digital Warrior Productions, which was a bit fishy. They were saying it was because, oh, well, you know, Digital Warrior Productions is based in Spain. David Mahoney is based in Spain. Greg was in England, the whole pandemic and things, so they couldn't get together. So Greg then went with a different producer and made another video. So this was around Jacob's Pillow. So Greg's next story is he's gone to Scotland, and he's got these ancient maps, and he's digging up a stone, the Stone of Destiny, or Jacob's Pillow, and he found it. Hurrah! And because he found it, this made him the King of Scotland and Ireland. Take a look.
The Royal Proclamation number 3, King John III, Joseph Greg Hallett has found Jacob's Pillow, the Stone of Destiny, the Coronation Stone. It's a lawful document, and the white here means from royal to royal, as opposed to red tape. It's white tape. And it has the seals and the stamps and the blood thumbprint. Now recognised in law by all the respondents, supported by Joseph Gregory Hallett being allowed to discover Jacob's Pillow and Coronation Stone. The principal ratifies and confirms OTH 20-24-93-77 and sanctions the certificate for Royal Proclamation number 3, King John III, Joseph Gregory Hallett has found Jacob's Pillow and is King of Scots. 13 November 2020, Joseph Gregory Hallett is now the Rex Scotorum, King of Scots and King of Ireland.
So yeah, he'd obviously, you know, he's made up some additional documents for the Jacob's Pillow, much like his documents that he'd put out before, which was just all tosh, just a load of word salad and proclamations that he'd sent to the monarchy stating that he was the rightful monarch now. And yeah, again, it's just, you know, coffee stained paper, stamps, blood thumbprint, you know, he's put it in white tape, and that's, you know, that's enough to say, you know, proof in his eyes with the stone that he's got that he's the rightful king. It didn't take off. He actually made an 8 videos on him reading out his documents, and it's just so much wordage and so much repetition that, you know, again, just like his original documents that he'd made up, that apparently, you know, he'd submitted to common law courts. Same with this other stuff. How come nothing's come of this then? We're talking way over a year ago now that these documents were submitted to common law courts, the original documents, and now the Jacob's Pillows one. Nothing's happened, of course. So he made those videos, and then after that, he made a couple of videos. One of them was around how all of the movies, he had shown so many movies that apparently were naming him, you know, discreetly as king in the movies. You know, you've got like Meet the Fockers, where the guy's called Greg, and because they keep referencing the main character called Greg, of course that meant Greg Hallett. It was just ridiculous, just like most of all of his stuff, just ridiculous.
Hours after escaping death, the highest representation of the sun is drinking an unknown quantity. He mimics early coping mechanisms and mannerisms of Joseph Gregory Hallett. This is so close to Joseph Gregory Hallett.
Something is happening. You're alive, and I don't know how.
Identify, please.
This is Jenny. Get me Henry.
The initials JH or HJ are used to identify Joseph Hallett.
Identify, please.
This is Jenny. Get me Henry.
Identify, please. This is Jenny H. Get me Henry J. Approximates JH. Jennifer Halsey approximates Joseph Hallett. Then there's Henry Jekyll.
So there was that, and there was another one that he'd made around Queen Victoria. The whole Queen Victoria thing was to do with the other narrative around Francisco Manuel and his claim to the throne. It had nothing to do with it. Apparently, the reason he was meant to be king was because he was a descendant of Anne Boleyn, which, if you look back on my videos, I've made proof there. We looked into his ancestry, and it's a made-up story. But he's now then obviously reverted to in that talk about Queen Victoria and the reason why the current monarchy is illegitimate. Yeah, all of it just doesn't make sense. So their excuse at the time was that, oh no, well, Francisco was meant to be king, but they fell out, and actually the Rosicrucians got hold of Greg and said, oh no, because you've seen signs and symbols, we think that you're meant to be the king for the new age times, and all this nonsense. So that was November, and around the same time I started making the Allegedly King docuseries, which basically compiled all of my research into kind of a docuseries. So the heat was really up on these guys, and after him making those spurt of videos in around November time, he disappeared off the planet, hasn't been seen since. That was 8 months ago. So in December, about a month after that, I was contacted by a guy called Jorn Vesterport, and he was the financier for the Hidden King books. And he told me his story about how he had given Greg all this money to make the books. In fact, at one point, he stopped making the books and wrote another book, which was the Mountbatten report that he did with a guy called Christopher Crichton. I won't go into that. I've talked about it in my videos. But yeah, so he had the cheek. He took that money and made another book in the middle of making these Hidden King books. He made all these Hidden King books around Francisco Manuel and his claim, but then he'd seeded his own name in the books. And basically, what Jorn tells me is they need to be rewritten. So hopefully I will still get that interview. But he sent me the books, and he also sent me a letter. See if I've got it here. He sent me information about all of the money that he gave Greg, and then money that he'd spent on court cases to try and get that money back. Basically, he'd taken advantage. He basically paid for 1,000 copies for the books. Well, it's a book set. He'd given him about £5,000. He'd sent money to Francisco's lawyer as a court case against evil, basically, as he put it. That cost €4,045. So he sent me all of this information as well. So again, I'm hoping to still get that interview in the future. Now, the books, people have been asking me, I had said that I was going to read through the books, right? And I tried. But if anyone's tried to listen to his videos, as well as perhaps slightly confusing, it's just so much word salad in there. It's quite difficult to listen to. So I tried to read through these books. There is 5 of them, right? And, you know, they are full of Greg writing, and it is quite difficult to read through. I ended up, I read a couple, and then I ended up skimming through the rest. What is interesting, you know, there is pictures in there. One of the things that is kind of said about is these royal marks that Greg says about, and apparently there's quite a few of them. Greg apparently had a couple of them. So Greg had a couple of them, one of which was the letter from Queen Victoria, apparently. And so there's all of this stuff in here. This is apparently Victoria's mourning letter to Marcus Manuel in mourning of his passing. So there is a lot of stuff in there. I'll maybe just go through a few more bits. But yeah, apparently there was all of these royal marks, and Greg basically stole a couple from Francisco Manuel. And there's a lot of nonsense in here, but there's stuff in here, you know, a chalice of legislators Akhenaten and Jesus. I'm guessing he's saying that's the Holy Grail. There's just a lot of nonsense in here, and it was difficult to read to, like I say. So hopefully Jorn will be able to shed some light on this. He's obviously read through them. Here's the Almanac de Gotha, the Hidden King of England, the original book, which was not written by Greg Hallett. So this is Francisco Manuel, and this is his family tree, one with it, which Greg showed in his earlier videos. Francisco Manuel, Duke of Sachsen, Coburg, and Gotha. And there's the sword that Greg was apparently lent. And, you know, he says in his documentary, oh, when you've got all of that power, you know, you really feel the power.
The sword was given to me at 10 p.m. on Leap Day 2012. And I was instructed to sleep with it and then hold it up to the castle that night.
What's the name of this?
That morning. It's the sword of the Duke of Sachsen, Coburg, and Gotha. It's the real sword of the King of England.
Right.
Right? Plus a lot more. And it's the second highest sword on the planet. I think what I was given was actually the highest sword on the planet. So I slept with it that night as instructed. It's a beautiful sword. It's absolutely lovely. And so I slept with it and then rolled over and slept with it. And then I got up in the morning and held the sword up. So holding the highest sword on the planet up to Moorish Castle on the 1st of March 2012 was my initiation into the House of David.
How did that feel? Is it hard to take in?
Kind of, well, you know, I received a whole lot of titles that day, 1st of March.
So this was going on.
You know, honestly, when you get a proper initiation and you get knighted with a sword and you've earned it and it's all genuine,
feels great.
You know, just, you know, it's really good. It's just,
Moving on. I'd later received a message from someone who had been talking to Greg through email or messenger, and he asked him about whether he trusts David, and Greg totally trashes David. At this time, David is still kind of sticking up for Greg. Oh, he's just disappeared on, you know, important business. He's working behind the scenes. And Greg says, oh, he doesn't trust him. You know, he made it a joke and he spent time drinking with his buddies. And this guy then messaged David, and David was completely shocked and surprised that Greg had said all that stuff. I mean, I'm not. It's clearly Greg. It was Greg's account, and it just sounded just like Greg, you know. Basically, he uses people and then he falls out with them and then he trashes them. That is a cycle that he constantly does. So, you know, like I said, Dave Mahoney had made these documentaries. He'd also made, as part of the Hidden King documentary series, he'd made one with Huna Flash, who was also someone that had met Greg and was backing Greg. And he claims to be a guru of Huna. And we, myself and Justice, had done an interview with Huna, and we'd caught him lying about apparently teleporting. And he made this video saying, you know, Huna Flash teleports on his YouTube channel, and we took it apart, and we took him apart in that interview, and he was totally exposed.
Let me go here, M Seeker. Now, can you apologize that it's not a fake video?
Can you see my screen? So this is the unedited video. This is how we started talking. There he goes. This disappears. Then he walks back into frame. What I mean is I've not edited it. That's the real thing, right? That's straight from your YouTube.
You've not edited that straight off live from Facebook on my page.
So let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look at it. I did a bit of video analysis on this. So if you look closely now, this is the point where Huna disappears. So if you look here at this lady's hand, that also teleports amazingly to her side at the point where Huna disappears. Her hand is up by her face. As soon as Huna disappears, so does her hand. Like her hand teleports too. So here you go. Here's the hand and everything moving all at once. It's almost as if there's missing time. And if you watch how no one flinches when he's supposed to have teleported, this is very important. So he disappears. No one gives a crap really. No one has noticed that he's moved.
Don't say that they don't give a crap, and Seeker. They do give a crap because it was done. It was in the fractals that it disappeared on the film, on the recording, like on the video.
So there's frames missing, like frames of time missing. Is that what you're saying?
But they weren't cut out by me and anybody. That was live to Facebook.
But the thing is you defended that as you teleporting. You didn't say, "Oh, well, there's the frames of time missing." You said, "I teleported." That was
no. I did say I teleported. I teleported on film.
Yeah, so
I said I teleported on film.
So now you're saying it was only on film.
No, I'm not saying that now. I said back then. I said I teleported on film. I said on the camera I teleported. You said I didn't say I teleported in front of them.
Okay, so I can show messages of you saying that you teleported. This was live. This was
rotted.
It was live. I teleported, but on camera.
Okay. Oh, only on camera, not in real life.
Yeah.
Linguistical magic. I love it.
That is absurd.
It was on camera that I disappeared. I was
still dying of corona and dying.
But I teleported on film, on the camera, live.
Oh, so what people only on the camera teleported, not in real life. I mean, come on.
It's what people saw. They saw me disappear.
They did, because there's frames missing. If any normal person that was telling the truth would say, "Look, I didn't actually teleport from."
That doesn't mean
there's missing frames.
It doesn't mean it's fake, MCK. Because there's frames missing doesn't mean it's
that's what you went with. You lied. That is why I said.
I did not lie, MCK. You're just supposing. You're supposing that frames shouldn't be missing. You're supposing frames shouldn't be missing. That's not a lie.
You just told me the connection was bad.
Maybe it was a connection, but I'm telling you,
really bad. You could have said, "And I didn't actually teleport from A to B. That's just how the connection went." But anyway, David and Huna carried on their relationship, and they decided to make another documentary. So the first one was about opening and closing stargates and portals.
To offer this, the seal of the living life. I offer this to you. I'm very honored. I accept it. Is that a yes? That's definitely a yes.
That's married, isn't it? I do.
And he decided.
David got changed into his PE kit for this as well.
He really doesn't look like in the face and that as well, man. He doesn't look well. He looks really stressed out and like not very well.
And he made me repeat the words to him.
I'm not having it. I'm not having it that David repeated these words, man. I'm not having it.
We remember you.
And then they were going to go, they had to go all around the world to do this. And so David followed him to Mexico and also to South America. They were going to go to Peru and other places to open and close these stargates and portals. Now, me and Justice were really looking forward to making a Just Truth breakdown, looking into this next installment. And, we got some footage of them going there and filming it.
Huna and myself have got together. We're investigating a couple of theories here. So for the next 18 days, we're going to be filming in Central and South America. We're going to start in Mexico, and we're going to make our way down to Bolivia. We're filming something very special in Peru, on Machu Picchu, and an island just off the Lake Titicaca. But we're not going to say too much right now, because it's going to spoil the surprise. We'll send you the love, we'll send you the inspiration, we'll send you maybe even some money. We got some money coming through next month. We got some codes, some energy codes from Jasara coming through. We'll even get that hooked up. Anyway, let's stay excited, all right?
So anyway, they get back. They're going to make this documentary, and we've been waiting for it for months and months and months. I mean, this was about 4 months ago. And it appears that all talk of this documentary, any sort of evidence of it, has been completely wiped from Huna's channel. Dave Mahoney started up his own website, Digital Warrior Productions website, and there's no reference to it on there either. With Dave Vickers, who was the guy that actually did all the shooting, all the filming, all the editing, you know, the production of it. If you look on there, there's nothing. It's just been completely disappeared. So I don't know if they had a falling out, or whether they knew that me and Justice were going to tear it apart, or whether David has decided to stop grifting on these fake kings and fake Hunas and Stargates and portals and nonsense, which is easily debunked. He's now doing videos with his friend Lee Dawson on his Digital Warriors website, where they do, you know, a sort of show about, you know, the whole pandemic situation, which is a much better way, I think, of him spending his time. And it seems that he's cut all ties with Greg and cut all ties with Huna. So Huna continues to make his videos, but all reference of Dave Mahoney has been wiped, apart from obviously the Stargates and Portals documentary they'd made a while back. Where is Greg today? Well, it seems that, you know, I received a message today. He's not disappeared, someone said. He lives in Clitheroe, which is somewhere north of Manchester, and he wears his own merchandise to the pub. Have a look at this. No doubt he is conning people of free pints, using this whole narrative still somewhere in the north of England. However, them saying he's not disappeared, well, he has in terms of online presence. He has abandoned anyone that believed in this narrative, that gave him money. He's abandoned all of that, and now it seems like he is probably scamming on a small scale offline for free pints. So that's my update, guys. I hope you liked it, and as always, follow MC for Truth.